Good afternoon, everybody. It's 12 o'clock, and I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board to order. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go and proceed to our regular agenda. Item number 1, presentation discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board Financial Performance Report for the period ended March 31st, 2025. Mike?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. So my name is Mike Perez. I'm the Chief Financial Officer, and I'll be presenting the Financial Performance Report as of March 31st, 2025. So here we've got our executive summary that focuses on 7 categories. Each category has its own gauge meter, red representing poor, yellow average, and green good. And so starting out with the flow of funds, year to date we have generated $2,749,000 to replenish the improvement fund. Our debt service coverage is at 2.19 times, which is well above the 1.25 times minimum requirement. The fuel purchase and energy charge has generated an over-recovery of $21 million as of March 31st, and this will be used to offset some future market uncertainty. So the current FPEC rate is set at 0.05019 cents, and it's been at that rate since September of 2024. The City of Brownsville cash transfer is lower than budgeted due to some decrease in adjusted gross revenues. Not significant. We did see that cash transfers are actually $410,000 over prior year's levels. And so this financials are as of March 31st, so this is half of our fiscal year. We do anticipate that the second half of the fiscal year generates the most revenue for us, and so those will increase. On the personal and non-personnel expenses, those came in lower than budgeted, primarily due to some current vacancies and timing issues. Those were $4.1 million under budget. BPUB's average electric bill is lower than both the average municipally owned utility bills and the average investor-owned utility bills for the 1,000 kWh residential users. So our current electric bill is at about $111.26. The CIP year-to-date actuals and committed totaled $16.9 million and $47.7 million respectively, which represents about 85% of the fiscal year 25 approved plan. We do have a separate presentation on the CIP following this financial presentation, and all key financial metrics are currently in compliance. Here we've got the condensed statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. This is based on generally accepted accounting principles. We do compare current year-to-date actual with the prior year year-to-date actual. So starting off, we got operating revenues of $108,107,000. This came in about $9.8 million increase from last year. There were some minor changes in the base and the fuel revenues. The majority of the change came in from the use of $9.5 million in rate stabilization funds this past year to pay some of the customers' production costs. That rate stabilization is reported as a reduction to revenue, and so we see a reduction in revenue last year. So operating expenses came in at $94,050,000. We did see a $4 million increase over last year. Some of the categories that we saw an increase of $3 million in the contractual and other services, another $2.2 million increase in personal expenses, but then we did see a decrease in the purchase power and fuel of $1 million, accounting for the $4 million difference. Moving on, line 3 operating income came in at $14,057,000. Once we back out the net non-operating revenues and expenses of $8,915,000, we end up with an income before capital contributions of $5,142,000. Adding in capital contributions of $6,149,000, we end up with an increase in net position year-to-date of $11,291,000. Adding this to the net position at the beginning of the fiscal year, we do end up with a net position at the end of the period of $486,428,000. And here we've got a condensed statement of summary of revenues and expenses. This is based on the flow of funds. This is in compliance and accordance with the bond ordinance. And here we are comparing year-to-date actuals with the year-to-date budget. We've got operating revenues of $103,596,000. This came in $23 million below budget. We did see a base rate revenues under budget by $6.9 million. Fuel was under by 18.3 million, and this is actually a pass-through. And then our off-system sales were over budget by 2.2 million, accounting for that $23 million difference. Other revenues were 11,520,000. Those came in 79,000 below budget. We end up with gross revenues of 115,117,000. Backing out the fuel and the SRWA contributions of 36,007,000, we arrive at our adjusted gross revenues of 79,110,000. This is the basis for the City of Brownsville 10% transfer calculation. So the city is entitled to $7,911,000 off of that. We back out other requirements for the O&M non-operating debt service of $61,982,000 and arrive at a balance available after requirements of $17,127,000. Now we back out the total cash and utility benefit to the City of Brownsville at $7,911,000, and we arrive at a balance available to transfers out or BPUB uses of $9,216,000. Off of that $9 million, BPUB used $6,467,000 to fund the CIP transfers and our reserve transfers as well, leaving a balance of $2,749,000 to replenish the improvement fund. Here again, the debt service coverage ratio is at 2.19 times at March 31st. That concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Previous?
I just have one question.
Sure.
On the first slide, Mike.
The first slide.
Yeah, there you go. The COB transfer. Okay, it's less than budgeted, by like $800,000, $900,000, right? But you have it as a green.
Right, because we're looking at the actual transfers compared to last year. They're about 410,000 above last year's level. The majority of that is because their usage has actually been lower, and that could be attributable to the changing of the street lights to LEDs. So that has reduced their consumption dramatically.
So it's higher than last year, but less than budget?
It's on the actual cash transfer, yes.
Okay.
Higher than last year's because we did anticipate higher revenues in the current year. Now, the big reason that we see this cash transfer below budgeted, like I mentioned earlier, we do expect the majority of our revenues to be generated at the second half of the fiscal year, during the summer months when it's a lot hotter. And so when we're doing the comparison to budget, here again, we're taking half of the year's budget, comparing it to what has actually occurred, when the majority of the revenue is going to be generated in the upcoming months.
Okay. Any questions? No.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Second item, presentation and discussion on year-to-date capital improvement plan activity as of March 31st, 2025.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager. We'll provide an update on the CIP budget, actual, and commitments through the month of March 2025. And then Mr. David Ramirez from Asset Management will provide an update on the cash flow. Looking at this slide on the left side, we have the total CIP budget for 2025. It was $76.1 million. Actuals through the month of March, $16.9 million, or 22.2% of the budget. Committed, these are the open POs outstanding, $47.7 million, or 62.7%. This leaves an uncommitted budget balance of $11.5 million, or 15.1% of the budget. Moving on to on the middle of the page of the slide, actuals and committed by project type as a percentage of the budget. 100% of the electrical budget has been spent or committed. 65% of the water budget, 93% of the wastewater budget has been spent or committed, and 39% of the general and administration. Moving on the right side, the year-to-date actuals and committed by category. Looking at the top three, under construction, $6.6 million spent with 22.8 committed. Grant funded, this is mainly the downtown water and wastewater ARPA funded project through the City of Brownsville. Actuals 3.4 and committed at 10.7. And then the customer connections, 4.9 spent and then 3.2 committed. And then also on slides number 4 through 16 is all the detail for the CIP for the year 2025. Any questions before I turn it over to Mr. Ramirez? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. There we go. The following slide shows the capital cash flow plan for fiscal year 2025, as well as the actual cash flow through the month of March. Actual cash flow began to slide under the plan in February and was underperforming through the month of March by about 5 million. There were a group of projects that saw delayed invoicing or pending purchase order updates that will basically allow invoices to be processed and help reduce the gap moving forward. The amount of the projects roughly equals the amount of the gap, which is close to 5 million right there. So we see a lot of these invoices coming in the last month. So in the next report, we expect to see a reduction in that gap. Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 3, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation of status of request for the proposals of a vehicle lease program. I've been asked that we table this item. Is there a motion to table?
I'll move to table.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we'd like to go into closed meeting to consider matters pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551. We have 2 items. First item, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation of information upon pricing of purchased power generation and fuel and their impact on the fuel purchase energy and marketing charge, Section 551.086. Second item, discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board's quarterly progress on natural gas hedging strategies and power supply, Section 551.086 and Section 552.133. Have a motion to go into closed meeting?
I'll move to
Is
go
there a
into
se-
close.
Is there
I
a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, it is 12:12, and at this time, we are going to go into closed meeting. Thank you. Okay, it is 12:27, and we are returning to our open meeting. There was no actions taken in our closed meetings. And so then we have one more item, discussion and a request for future agenda items. Anybody?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second that.
There's a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.